Okay, so that's this show, and now I'm gonna go over this one.
Okay, at this point, the neighbor has like slightly stubble, and now his hair is like slightly more gray. And the neighbor now wears a crow costume because the police now know what he looks like. And he has moved into the deep part of the neighborhood, and he has built a house inside of Golden Apple Amusement Park 4, and he has put Walter Jr. in that house. At this point, all 5 parks are abandoned because of the accidents, and they just employ security guards now and then. This house that he built holds a giant map that goes to every single one of his houses, including all the mod kit houses, and he built it in the only place he can, which is next to a ride. After that, he covers the entire house by building a wall so no one can access it. Only he can access it by climbing. The park employs a security guard. There was no security guard operating when the neighbor was building the secret house because the old one quit, and this park is not very popular and rarely has a single security guard, but now they've employed a new security guard. So the neighbor scares the college kids that went to school in the Act 3 map and forces them into vandalizing the amusement park to distract the security guard so that he wouldn't find anything, and to give the neighbor time to build the bomb that he wanted to build to blow a wall up to get material to expand his secret house. This also attracts real vandals that sneak in and pretend they're also students and vandalize for their own reasons. Also adults who are disguised that vandalize the park to make sure it never thrives again and causes another kidnapping. The security guard actually finds the house, and then a light is turned on inside the house, but then the security guard is killed by the neighbor. The person who turned the light on was Walter Jr. Before the security guard dies, he is shown the bomb in action. This explosion attracts the mysterious man's attention. He is investigating 2 people that seem smart, and he wants to test them to see if they can help him find the killer of his roommate. But he's gonna need help. He knows these 2 people are going to work at Golden Amusement Park 3, so he visits 4 when he hears about the explosion. The neighbor convinces him to partner with him. He partners with the neighbor, and he doesn't know that this is the neighbor that killed his roommate. The neighbor knows who he is after he tells the story to the neighbor, although the neighbor didn't know. There was a 3rd roommate at first. The neighbor says that he will help on one condition, that the mysterious man helps move the secret house from this park to the 3rd park, because now this park is under too much suspicion after the death of the security guard. Then they do move it, but now it's all cracked and damaged. Okay, so now they've moved to the Hello Guest pre-alpha map, and before this story happened, the neighbor moved Walter Jr. to another distant neighborhood, and this was the time when the neighbor made the Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha 2 map as a backup, which had a version of the Alpha 2 house built in it, and also the Rumble on the Mill map as a hideout. He builds the Alpha 2 house often because it's the smallest and simplest one he knows how to build. This takes place in the Golden Apple Amusement Park 3, which is in the part of the neighborhood only accessible through a sub-post train, which is unreliable. The mystery man and the neighbor set up the puzzles there for the 2 people that the mystery man was investigating, and the mystery man waits at the end of the puzzles to meet them. The 2 people were Quentin and Beatrix. They arrive at the job as predicted, and both work late night shifts but on different days. Beatrix solves the puzzles first and runs into the mystery man. He fights her to try to knock her out and trap her somewhere to force her to do investigating for him. She is able to run away. After this event, she moves away from the neighborhood. When Quentin makes it to the end, the mystery man tries a different approach. He walks up to him and he gives him a paper with the neighbor on it and a map to the Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha 1 house, which is built exactly in the place of the Act 2 house. The neighborhood there is run down now after the vandalizing and the searching for the neighbor and more kids and evidence. The Alpha 1 part of that neighborhood is still pretty intact though. Then the mystery man leaves Quentin, and the neighbor also completely destroys the secret house with the giant map so that nothing can be found. And Quentin is interested in this and drives to the house. He sees the guests locking up the neighbor and decides to rescue him. It's really the mystery man disguised as the neighbor and the addict, and they've built a way out. So after the neighbor locks the attic door, the mystery man leaves and goes up to one of those train carts to watch. Quentin finds a table with his and Beatrix's pictures on it, and he learned that this is where the mystery man and the neighbor did more research on Quentin and Beatrix. only he didn't know it was the neighbor and the mystery man that were searching. The Golden Apple amusement park here is the second one. At the end, when Quentin finds the crow costume and makes it out of the attic, he sees the neighbor there. The mystery man is there too in the background, but Quentin doesn't see him. The original plan was that the neighbor was going to tell Quentin now what they had done and ask him to help them find the killer. The mysterious man wasn't supposed to be there, but this was a trap by the mysterious man. After much research, he actually knew that the neighbor was the killer from the start, all the way in the Hello Guest prototype. And now, with the neighbor's back turned, the mysterious man jumps to attack him. Quentin gets scared and runs away. The neighbor is caught off guard and loses the fight. But this was on purpose because the neighbor knew that the mysterious man knew that he was the killer. Now that the neighbor lost, the mysterious man locks him up in the attic. Quentin called Beatrix and told her about all this, and she guided him on what to do. He went back to the attic and saw the neighbor, but he was skinny. Then he followed him, but then found out he was wearing a mask. This wasn't the neighbor, it was the mysterious man. He suddenly took a picture of Quentin. He took it to scare Quentin away. And also because this camera has X-ray that allows him to hack into Quentin's devices. He wants to hack them to find anything that Quentin finds out about the neighbor, and he also wants to track Beatrix down because she could sink him. He believes Quentin is in some sort of contact with her. He also took it to capture the moment when he won. Then Quentin got scared and left. Then the mysterious man rebuilt the house again with schematics he found from the neighbor into the Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha 1.5 house, so that Quentin wouldn't have the house's layout memorized if he tried to break back in. He uses the crow costume that he made based on the neighbor's crow costume that Quentin found, because the original one was somewhere only the neighbor knew, to bring in a friend and have him wear it to guard the house so no one frees the neighbor. Beatrix guides Quentin more and he starts breaking in again. The mystery man goes back up to the train cart to watch so he wouldn't get caught by Quentin. The neighbor, knowing this would happen, built a secret way out of the room that the mysterious man locked him in, and this was part of the schematics. He got out and secretly killed the person in the crow costume, and he got his own and defended the house. The mysterious man didn't know this and thought it was the crow he hired. The neighbor often goes into the cafe nearby and builds something. At the end, when Quentin finds all the candy, the neighbor quickly gets back into that room that he's supposed to be trapped in and makes it look like he's trying to get out so that he looks like the good guy. Quentin gets scared and leaves. Now that the neighbor has appeared innocent to Quentin, he doesn't worry about him knowing he's guilty. He can go after Mysterious Man. As the Mysterious Man watches from the cable cart, the neighbor sneaks out of the attic and climbs up into the cable cart using a fire extinguisher generator and the buildings around the area. He is behind the mysterious man and then surprises him and jumps at him, grabbing him and causing them both to fall. They are fighting mid-air as they fall, and when they hit the ground, they sort of sink in and roll around, and it breaks their fall because of how worn down and wet this place is. When they get back up, they're all covered in mud, and the mysterious man fires a gun at the neighbor, and the neighbor quickly runs to the side and out of sight. The mysterious man looks around and hears rustling in the bushes around him. He backs up into the cafe nearby. He backs up into the back room of the cafe, and he is electrocuted by a trap. And the neighbor comes running in wearing the crow costume and kills the mysterious man. Before all the things from Hello Guest pre-alpha were happening, this was where the neighbor moved Walter Jr. He moved him to the Hello Neighbor 2 map. He moved him to another version of the Alpha 2 house that he built in a new neighborhood. This was the Hello Neighbor 2 map. The next event happened while Hello Guest pre-alpha was happening. The neighbor orchestrated the mayor of the Hello Neighbor 2 town getting elected without him knowing. He uses the mayor to control a lot of things in the town. He also partners with the baker, taxidermist, and mayor and makes them hide his things in their own places. And they also know about the neighbor's kidnappings. The baker is nice to kids and usually lets them go after they've seen something small, and she also uses a syringe with an illegal liquid to enhance her baking products, inspired by Dak Blake. The taxidermist makes a lot of things for the museum, and the mayor has his own secrets and steals money as a mayor and grows suspicious that people know. After suspicion rose about someone being in the neighbor's basement, he moved Walter Jr. to the abandoned museum attic. After getting more suspicion, 2 cops are sent to the town. The neighbor builds a replica of this town as a distraction, and it's the Hello Neighbor 2 playtest map. The neighbor accepts 2 cops that aren't that good and like donuts, and splits them up, sending one to each neighborhood. He does this through his mayor powers. After the town got even more suspicion, the neighbor built a replica of just his house to distract people a little more. And this was the Hello Neighbor 2 demo house. This is around the time when the secret neighbor houses started getting updated into the Hello Neighbor 2 design versions of them. The next events are now the current story. Quentin discovers his devices were hacked into. He tracks down the device that hacked them, and he finds the mysterious man's camera. He keeps it. Quentin quit his security job and became a journalist. He is inspired by what happened to him with the neighbor and tries to find out about it. He comes to the replica neighborhood and finds all the secrets, but then sees a fake decoy Walter Jr. in the attic and is caught by the neighbor in the crow costume. The neighbor doesn't kill him because he thinks he can be useful as a smart ally at some point and drives him far away and leaves him there. Then Quentin finds the Hello Neighbor 2 demo house and solves all the secrets, but realizes this house was a distraction after finding nothing, and thinks of if the neighbor has used other distractions. He thinks about the decoy Walter Jr. and he thinks that maybe that entire town was a decoy. He goes back to it and he roughly sees a similar town next to it. He goes to that town to investigate. It was the Hello Neighbor 2 map. Okay, and the Hello Neighbor 2 library DLC, that's where the librarian also worked with the neighbor and put any books about his past drug dealer life in the lowest floor of the library. Books were constantly coming in and she was searching for more books on every shelf. In the Hello Neighbor 2 school DLC, this was a different school from the main one, and the janitor kept the school clean and people out for when the neighbor wanted to use it. Every now and then the neighbor sent mail to the school that was some sort of secret for the janitor to hide. Okay, so now in Hello Neighbor 2, Quentin solves all the secrets and finds Walter Jr. Then he is knocked out by the neighbor's engineer friend. The neighbor's friend tells him about how the demo man messed with the roller coasters. This made the neighbor mad, and they got into a heated argument, while Quentin was able to crawl away. The neighbor and the engineer hunt down Demo Man because he went behind their back and kidnapped children. When the neighbor and the engineer are chasing Demo Man, he goes into the abandoned museum, and he searches for blackmail. The Demo Man goes into the abandoned museum and he searches for blackmail. He checks the windows to see if the neighbor is coming back, and he finds information leading to the Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha 2 map. When he looks out the window he sees the engineer standing there. The neighbor had found out what Demo Man was doing and told the engineer to stand outside while the neighbor sneaks in through secret ways. He gets in and sees the Demo Man and chases him. They run outside the building, and Demo Man gets in his car and leaves. The neighbor and engineer chase after him in a car. They follow him onto a forest road, then he gets out and runs into the forest. They get out and follow him into the forest. Then the neighbor slows down and tells his engineer friend to slow down. They duck under things to watch as they see the Demo Man walking up to a group of people in the forest. It was the forest people. Demo Man tells them where the neighbor lives, his secrets, and that the neighbor is here. Then all of a sudden the forest people kill Demo Man and start looking for the neighbor. The neighbor and engineer get up and start running away from them. The forest people chase them down and attack them. An arrow shot hits the engineer and he falls. The neighbor looks back, but he keeps running away. They all jump onto the engineer. The neighbor makes it out of the forest and escapes. In the Patch 9 part, Quentin sees the mysterious man's grave and figures out that the neighbor was the real bad guy. When he makes it to the last room, he is taken by the neighbor because he had seen Walter Jr., and at the last second, Beatrix comes out of nowhere and saves Quentin. They run away and use the evidence that Quentin has taken with the mysterious man's camera to expose the neighbor. cops come and they arrest everyone on the Hello Neighbor 2 map. Okay, so the neighbor takes Walter Jr. to his Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha 2 version of the Alpha 2 house. And the neighbor also has another house in this neighborhood just to live in. The police find evidence in the museum leading them to the Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha 2 town. And the two bad cops that the neighbors split up end up finding each other and seeing the neighbor's Alpha 2 house in the Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha 2 map and recognizing it as the neighbor's because it looked like the other houses he had. They went to tell the other officers. Then forest people come out of the background and break into the neighbor's Alpha 2 house because Demo Man had told them where it was after he found the info on it in the museum. They get inside and tie up the neighbor. Then one dressed in all black with a mask on walks in and opens the basement door. He points a weapon into the basement and hesitates. It does not show Walter Jr. in this scene at all. The man in black takes his mask off and shows the neighbor his face. He is the neighbor's engineer friend. The neighbor learns that they've been using the engineer to do their dirty work. He puts the weapon down, then he brings it back up and strikes two of the people holding the neighbor. The neighbor gets free, but the forest people kill the engineer. The neighbor quickly attacks the forest person who killed the engineer while he was still distracted, and the neighbor defeats the other two forest people and locks the basement. He very soon realizes that he needs to leave this house because the forest people know about it, so he plans to take Walter Jr. to the rumble on the mill place, which had no evidence on it anywhere. As the neighbor is leaving the house with Walter Jr., he sees police outside, and he quickly tries to hide Walter Jr. behind something and then hides himself. The police breach his house. He is able to evade and defeat some of them, but there are too many, and they find Walter Jr. and take him. Walter Jr. has a full-grown beard and long hair at this point. The neighbor escapes. This scene was the one of the Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha 2 teasers. This scene was, the one with the cops driving to the neighbor's house and him leaving out the bushes in the back with his car. Okay, so the neighbor went to his rumble on the mill hideout. He has now given up. He burns the crow costume, and he becomes Slender Man. Around this time, Dev Game Man is finally found in the Alpha 1 house and tells everyone about all the people in the neighbor's basement. They are able to save some. Okay, and then RBO, this is where a bunch of kids and some of the vandals and secret neighbor kids and other kids who had things to do with the neighbor play a dangerous game, which is a simulation of them breaking into his house. And there's glass shattering and people falling from roofs and pushing and throwing and tripping. And then the textured finished version of RBO, it's the slightly finished version of RBO, and the story here is a group of kids looking for the neighbor in the Hello Neighbor 3 map, and instead finding Signed. Okay, and then the Hello Neighbor 3 Prototype 1, this is the deepest part of the neighborhood, where usually all the forest people are. But not all of them are here now because they have gone to where the neighbor is now after the Demo Man has snitched on him. The main two forest people who stayed back were Signed and the Forest Dweller. And Hello Neighbor 3 Prototype 2, the Golden Apple Amusement Park here is the first one, and Hello Neighbor 3 Prototype 3 is the forest people send Coned, Covered, and some others to this neighborhood after rumors and sightings of the neighbor. The guest in this game is a real monster, and it's what the neighbor based his crow costume on. It was the creature that was in his backyard and that he heard in the forests. The Alpha 2 house here was built by the forest people to practice on after they saw what it looked like in the Hello Neighbor 2 Alpha 2. The neighbor came here because he realized that the guest was just like his engineer friend, and he was being used by the forest people. That's why he stayed in the neighbor's yard for long times, because he was sad. They made him hunt people down, but now the guest hunts forest people down too, because there aren't that many of them here now. At the end, the neighbor interacts with him and sets him free from the forest people, and he runs off free in the wild, inspired by wild cries.